Okay, we have a beginner as our opponent again. Let's see if he's really a beginner. Yeah, I mean, he played a couple of games, so more than 100, so I think his rating is reasonable, in the sense that we can think that he is a beginner. And now he can play against the Italian setup. We choose bishop c5 or knight f6, and d6 is very, very cautious. So he blocks in his bishop here on f8. He wants to play knight g4 very, very soon, I guess. So yeah, we don't take here on e6 because this would strengthen his center, and he could try to play d5. And now let's open up the position directly, because he wasted a tempo with h6. He should have developed his knight, for example, to f6 or the bishop to e7. We now attack the bishop here and the knight, so he needs to do something about this. Maybe he's taking here now. Okay. So we could destroy his pawn structure. But on the other hand, our knight is very good here. For example, try to jump to f5 later. So let's castle. He needs to develop his pieces, so bishop e7 maybe, and then we jump to f5, attacking here. And what we will do now is bring over the queen to the king's side. You can see that this knight is very strong here on f5 now. It's attacking both these squares here around the king. Yeah, and he's really afraid of castling short, but now he can't castle
check
at all. So we just take the pawn here, and then we jump back. There is the negative thing about this is that we opened up the g file, but I think we are strong enough to protect our king here. So the last piece we need to develop is the bishop, and I think it's very good here on e3. Taking a look on a7 maybe. Yeah, and if you are a pawn up, what do? You just exchange some pieces. I'm not scared about knight g4. He can try to take here. We take, and then he takes on f5. But it's dangerous for him. On one hand, this pawn is hanging. And the other, we maybe just grab the bishop here. Whew, this is now this is getting very, very dangerous for him now. Let's take, and we are threatening bishop b6 now, the check, and afterwards we can grab the rook here with our rook on a1. So c6, maybe he wanted to play because he didn't like me to play knight to d5, or knight b5 maybe, but yeah, this gets very dangerous for him now. Now I'm threatening rook a8, check, and then taking the other rook here. Yeah, what I want to do now is getting my queen to a5. I can try to do it with d5, queen d2, and maybe even playing something like knight b5, sacrificing here the knight, and then jumping here to a5. But I think it's even easier just playing queen a1. The next move will be queen a5. You can see that the black king is somewhat lonely here on the queen side, and my king is very safe. All pawns are in front of the king. The rook is here for protection as well. This knight is a bit shaky here, but I mean, if he takes here, I just take on e7, and I feel okay. If he takes now, however, I would certainly play queen a5 first. The problem is he can't do that much here.
Check.
And so this is just checkmate. I hope you see it. I mean, it's
Black resigns.
it doesn't matter what he's doing now. He can't move the pawn, but if he retreats with the king to either b8 or c8, we have a checkmate in one move. And this is just playing the rook to a8. So from the opening, you can see, I mean, this is already an advanced beginner in my view, the player with the black pieces. He develops his pieces here in a good manner. I don't like d6 that much, because it locks in the bishop here on f8, but it's not a very huge problem. It's very passive, but here is one inaccuracy. So h6, I really don't like h6, because he needs to develop his pieces first. So instead of moving your pawns at the a or h file in the opening, you should rather concentrate on the center pawns and activating your pieces. Knight f6, bishop e7, something like this. And he also weakens the kingside position massively. So if you look at the position a bit later, here you can already see that these pawns are very weak. And if he castles short, which I would have expected, I can try to play something like queen f3, queen g3, attacking here already on g7. It's hard to defend, and also I could try to sacrifice here a piece. Both pieces, the bishop on c1 and the knight on f5, are both looking here to h6. So I can if he castles short, I can just sacrifice a piece, get the two pawns, destroying all the shield, the security shield of black's king, and I can take my time here. I can try to play something like rook e1 after let's say playing something like bishop d2 or something, yeah. Then playing rook e1, rook e3, also bringing over the rook to the king's side. So I have a lot of time. So avoid pawn moves at the side of the board, at the rim of the board, like on the a and h file, beginning of the game. Just play it if it's really good, if it makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it's good to avoid that the opponent might play a piece to g5. It's not threatening at the moment. Maybe he was afraid of something like knight g5 later on, but it's protected by the queen. And if he plays bishop e7 as well, I mean, there is not a huge danger at the moment, so it was not necessary that he plays the pawn on h6. And
Check.
afterwards, I think there's not much you can do as black. After losing this important pawn here, the black squares around the king were very weak, and here I take the opportunity to penetrate on the black squares, and he can't defend them anymore.